David and Goliath, a living story ****. The sun blazed down on the valley of Elah. On one hill stood the armies of Israel, their armor glinting in the light. On the opposite ridge the Philistine warriors shouted and jeered, their banners whipping in the wind. But louder than all the noise was the voice of one man. He was a giant, Goliath of Gath. Over 9 feet tall, broad-shouldered, his body wrapped in bronze armor that shimmered like a fortress of metal. A massive spear rested in his hands, its iron head weighing as much as a blacksmith's hammer. His shield-bearer stood nervously in front of him, though it was clear Goliath needed no protection. "Send out your champion." Goliath's booming voice echoed across the valley. "Choose a man to fight me. If he wins, we will be your slaves. But if I defeat him, you will serve us." Day after day, 440 mornings and evenings, Goliath thundered the same challenge. And day after day, King Saul and his soldiers trembled. Not one dared to step forward. Meanwhile, far away in Bethlehem, Jesse called for his youngest son. "David," he said, handing him a bag of roasted grain and bread, "take this to your brothers at the battlefield. See how they are faring and bring me word." David, ruddy, handsome, still smelling of sheep from the fields, took the supplies eagerly. His heart burned with curiosity. When he arrived at the camp, the air buzzed with tension. Warriors sharpened swords, some whispering in fear. Suddenly the ground seemed to shake. The Philistine giant had stepped forward again. David froze, staring. The sight was terrifying, but what shocked him more was the reaction of Israel's soldiers. Grown men, hardened fighters, shrank back. Their eyes darted nervously. Their hearts failed. David's brothers spotted him. Eliab, his eldest brother, marched over angrily. "What are you doing here? Shouldn't you be watching those few sheep in the wilderness?" David held his ground. "I only came to bring food and see how you were doing. But who is this uncircumcised Philistine that he should defy the armies of the living God?" His words spread quickly like sparks catching fire. Soon they reached the ears of King Saul. In the royal tent, David bowed slightly before the king. "Do not lose heart," he said with surprising boldness. "Your servant will go and fight this Philistine." Saul blinked in disbelief. "You are only a boy. He has been a warrior from his youth." But David's eyes glowed with quiet fire. "When a lion came and took a lamb from my flock, I struck it and rescued the lamb from its mouth. When it turned on me, I seized it by the beard and killed it. The same Lord who delivered me from the paw of the lion and the bear will deliver me from this Philistine." Saul studied him for a long moment, then finally sighed. "Go, and the Lord be with you." Saul's armor was placed on David, but the boy struggled under its weight. The bronze helmet slipped, the sword dragged. He shook his head. "I cannot go in these. I am not used to them." Instead he picked up his shepherd's staff, chose 5 smooth stones from the brook, and slipped them into his pouch. In his hand he carried only his sling. The giant roared with laughter when he saw him. "Am I a dog that you come at me with sticks?" he bellowed, cursing David by his gods. "Come here, and I will feed your flesh to the birds and beasts." But David stood firm, the wind tugging at his tunic. "You come against me with sword and spear and javelin," he shouted back, "but I come against you in the name of the Lord Almighty, the God of the armies of Israel, whom you have defied. This day the Lord will deliver you into my hand, and I will strike you down, and the whole world will know there is a God in Israel." The Philistine charged, his footsteps thundering. Dust rose from the ground. David ran too, but toward the giant. Quick as a hawk, he reached into his pouch, set a stone in his sling, and with a practiced hand he let it fly. The stone cut through the air, whistling. It struck Goliath squarely on the forehead. The giant's eyes went wide. He staggered, then collapsed forward with a deafening crash, face down in the dust. A stunned silence swept across the valley. The earth itself seemed to pause. Then David ran forward, grabbed Goliath's massive sword, and with one mighty stroke, cut off his head. The Philistines gasped in horror. Their champion was dead. Panic erupted in their camp. They turned and fled, their shouts echoing through the hills. Israel's soldiers, once frozen in fear, now surged forward with a roar, chasing their enemies and striking them down. That day a shepherd boy became a hero. But David knew it wasn't his sling or stone that won the battle. It was the Lord.